You stare at the screen, watching the numbers in your bank account dwindle, and a familiar knot tightens in your chest. Money often feels less like a tool and more like an unpredictable force dictating your choices, your mood, and your sense of security. This anxiety is not a personal failure, but the natural result of treating your finances as a chaotic afterthought rather than a deliberate design. The constant low-grade panic of living paycheck to paycheck drains your physical energy, occupies your mental bandwidth, and leaves little room for actual intentional living. You are surviving, but you are not truly free. The traditional approach to managing this anxiety often involves viewing money through a lens of scarcity and restriction. You might think that getting your finances in order means cutting out every single joy, punishing yourself for past mistakes, and living a life of absolute grueling denial. But this perspective actually fuels the cycle of stress, leading to inevitable burnout and impulsive spending binges. True transformation begins by reframing this narrative entirely, moving away from a mindset of deprivation and stepping toward a philosophy of abundance, clarity, and total control over your resources. Mindful budgeting is the bridge between that persistent anxiety and genuine financial freedom. It is about understanding the why behind every dollar, transforming a rigid, unforgiving spreadsheet designed to make you feel guilty about buying a morning coffee into a powerful tool for intentional living. By actively deciding where your resources go before the month even begins, you give every single dollar a specific, meaningful purpose. This proactive stance shifts you from a passive consumer constantly reacting to incoming bills into an active architect of your own lifestyle, designing exactly how you want to experience the world. When you give your money clear, unambiguous direction, the heavy mental fog surrounding your finances begins to lift. You no longer have to wonder if you can afford to go out to dinner with friends or if an unexpected car repair will derail your entire month. The clarity provided by a structured plan acts as a robust buffer against life's inevitable surprises and emergencies. That constant background hum of financial stress quiets down, replaced by a quiet, unshakable confidence in your daily decisions and your long-term trajectory. To build this foundation, you need a reliable, tested framework, and the 50/30ths and 20 rule serves as an excellent starting point for this structural shift. This method divides your after-tax income into three distinct categories, allocating 50% to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and debt repayment. Needs cover your absolute essentials like housing, groceries, basic utilities, and minimum debt payments. Wants encompass the lifestyle choices that bring you joy and comfort, from dining out and hobbies to entertainment and travel. Applying this rule requires you to take a hard, honest look at your current spending habits without flinching. You must track your outgoing cash for a full 30 days, categorizing every single transaction without judgment or shame. This exercise often reveals surprising leaks in your cash flow, illuminating exactly where your hard-earned money is drifting away unnoticed on subscriptions or daily conveniences. Once you see the stark reality of your habits on paper, you can begin to align your actual, real-world behavior with your true underlying priorities. A frequent stumbling block in this early process is confusing a want with a genuine need, especially when navigating a highly optimized, consumer-driven environment. Marketing constantly tells you that the latest smartphone, a premium subscription service, or a brand new vehicle is an absolute necessity for survival and social standing. Recognizing the difference requires a deliberate pause, a moment of deep reflection before swiping your card or clicking purchase. You must ask yourself if a purchase genuinely supports your long-term well-being or if it merely provides a fleeting, temporary hit of dopamine. That brief, intentional pause is the very essence of being mindful with your resources. It creates a critical space between stimulus and response, allowing your rational, forward-thinking brain to catch up with your immediate emotional desires. Over time, this conscious delay weakens the impulse to buy things you do not actually care about or need. The environment around you stops dictating your choices, and you begin to cultivate an ecosystem of possessions and experiences that genuinely enrich your days, rather than cluttering your physical and mental space. As your spending aligns with your core values, the physical and emotional toll of money anxiety significantly decreases across the board. Sleep improves dramatically when you are no longer lying awake in the dark, calculating credit card interest rates in your head. Your relationships benefit immensely as financial arguments, which remain one of the leading causes of domestic tension and divorce, become much less frequent and far less volatile. The massive amount of energy previously consumed by worry can now be redirected into your career, your personal passions, and your meaningful connections with others. Allocating that critical 20% to savings and investments is what builds the impenetrable fortress around your newly found peace of mind. This category is not just an arbitrary mathematical target, but a direct, aggressive investment in your future autonomy and freedom. It funds your emergency reserve, ensuring that a medical bill or a sudden job loss becomes a mere inconvenience rather than a life-altering catastrophe. It also fuels your long-term investments, putting your money to work in the background so that eventually you do not have to work at all. Understanding the mechanics of compound interest is absolutely vital to maximizing the impact of that 20% allocation. Compound interest is simply the interest you earn on both your original money and on the interest you keep accumulating over time, creating a snowball effect. When you invest consistently, your wealth begins to accelerate, growing exponentially rather than linearly as the years pass. This mathematical phenomenon transforms small, disciplined contributions made today into massive, life-changing financial security decades down the line, doing the heavy lifting for your future. Grasping this compounding effect completely changes how you view a seemingly insignificant everyday purchase. Suddenly, that $50 impulse buy is not just $50 lost today, but potentially hundreds of dollars of future freedom and security permanently sacrificed. You realize that you are no longer just saving money, you are literally buying back your future time and independence. Every intentional choice becomes a solid brick in the foundation of a life where you work because you genuinely want to, not because you are financially forced to. The initial friction of tracking those daily transactions soon fades into a seamless, natural rhythm that requires very little active thought. The 50-30-20 rule, once fully established in your routine, acts as an invisible guardrail, keeping your long-term vision perfectly on track. You realize with profound clarity that you have not restricted your life at all, but rather expanded your capacity to enjoy it completely without guilt. The clarity of this system turns previously complex, agonizing financial decisions into simple, binary choices based entirely on your established, personalized parameters. Yet staying successfully on this path requires constant vigilance against lifestyle creep, a silent, insidious wealth killer that affects almost everyone. As your income inevitably grows through promotions, career advancements, or new business opportunities, the temptation to proportionately increase your standard of living is immense. Society expects you to upgrade your car, your home, and your wardrobe to accurately reflect your new, elevated professional status. If you allow your baseline expenses to rise in exact lockstep with your earnings, you will remain perpetually trapped in the exact same cycle of financial dependency, regardless of how much money you actually make. To effectively combat lifestyle creep, you must deliberately cap your material desires and direct the newly generated surplus straight toward your financial freedom. When you receive a raise or a bonus, allocate a significant, predetermined portion of that new money directly into your savings or investment accounts before you ever get used to spending it. You can still reward your hard work with a modest upgrade to your wants category, but the vast majority of the financial growth must serve your future self. This disciplined allocation guarantees that career success translates into actual, measurable wealth, not just a more expensive illusion of it. Navigating this intense societal pressure requires a profound, fundamental shift in how you personally define success and status. True wealth is not accurately measured by the luxury vehicles parked in your driveway or the designer labels hanging in your closet, which are frequently just indicators of massive consumer debt. Real wealth is the unseen, quiet flexibility to walk away from a toxic work environment, the ability to take a full year off to travel, or the capacity to support a loved one in a time of desperate need. It is the invisible margin in your life that grants you ultimate, unquestionable agency over your own time. When you deeply internalize this authentic definition of wealth, the exhausting desire to impress strangers with material possessions completely evaporates. You find a deep, enduring satisfaction in the quiet security of your growing net worth, rather than chasing the fleeting, hollow thrill of a brand new purchase. The opinions and judgments of others lose their power over your wallet, replaced by an unshakable, quiet confidence in your own customized financial strategy. This profound independence from external validation is perhaps the most liberating, life-altering psychological benefit of the entire budgeting process. To maintain this momentum, you must regularly review and adjust your financial plan to ensure it evolves alongside your changing life. A budget is never a static document carved in stone, but a living, breathing reflection of your current priorities and circumstances. If you decide to go back to school, start a family, or launch a new business venture, your allocations must proactively shift to support those new, exciting realities. Sitting down once a month to evaluate your progress keeps you intimately connected to your goals and allows you to course correct smoothly before small deviations become major, stressful setbacks. The crucial lessons from that initial tracking exercise continue to deeply inform these ongoing monthly reviews. You will quickly notice if a specific category, like dining out with friends or late-night online shopping, is consistently breaching its established boundaries. Instead of viewing this overage as a moral failure, treat it as highly valuable data pointing out a distinct misalignment between your stated intentions and your actual actions. You can then make a conscious, empowered choice to either increase the budget for that category by reducing another or recommit to actively curbing that specific problematic behavior. This continuous repeating loop of deliberate action, honest reflection, and strategic adjustment builds profound, unbreakable financial resilience. You stop fearing inevitable economic downturns, sudden inflation, or wild market fluctuations because you know exactly how to tighten your belt and navigate the storm safely. Your core sense of security is no longer tied to the unpredictable, chaotic whims of the global economy, but rooted entirely in your own proven competence and preparedness. You have successfully transformed from a fragile, anxious participant in the financial system into a robust, highly adaptable strategist. This hard-won resilience bleeds directly into every other area of your existence, permanently elevating your baseline level of daily happiness. When the financial foundation of your life is completely secure, you suddenly have the immense mental bandwidth required to pursue self-actualization, deep creativity, and meaningful hobbies. You can take bold, calculated risks in your career or personal life, knowing with absolute certainty that you have a sturdy safety net to catch you if things do not go exactly as planned. The radical reduction of financial stress acts as a powerful, undeniable catalyst for holistic, lifelong personal growth. It is incredibly important to acknowledge that this financial journey is rarely perfectly linear, and occasional setbacks are entirely normal and expected. An unexpected medical emergency, a sudden necessary home repair, or a brief period of unemployment might temporarily derail your target savings rate or force you to dip into your cash reserves. The real danger is not the temporary setback itself, but the psychological temptation to abandon the entire system when absolute perfection proves impossible. You must grant yourself grace in these difficult moments, recognizing that the framework is there to help you manage reality, not to demand flawless, robotic execution. When life inevitably throws you off balance, simply take a breath and return to the core principles of intentional resource management. Recalibrate your 50, 30, and 20% allocations based on your new, current circumstances and start the process again the very next day without lingering guilt. Consistency over the long haul will always, without fail, outperform short bursts of extreme frugality followed by exhausting burnout and relapse. Your ultimate financial freedom is built on the quiet, persistent, unglamorous repetition of sound choices, month after month, year after year. Ultimately, committing to mindful budgeting is the ultimate, most profound act of self-care you can practice. It is the deliberate process of honoring your past efforts by fiercely protecting your hard-earned earnings and nurturing your future self by aggressively securing your independence. You are finally stepping out of the passive passenger seat and taking firm control of the steering wheel, deciding exactly what kind of life you want to build and funding it deliberately. The numbers on the spreadsheet are just the raw canvas, but the masterpiece you are actively painting is a life of absolute, undeniable autonomy. You hold the immense power to permanently dismantle the financial stress that has weighed you down for far too long. By fully embracing this deliberate, strategic approach, you turn money from a constant source of anxiety into the very engine of your personal liberation. The definitive path to lasting wealth and deep peace of mind is not hidden behind complex financial jargon or exclusive secrets, but waiting for you in the simple, daily practice of aligning your spending with your deepest values. Start today, direct your resources with unwavering purpose, and watch as your vision of financial freedom becomes your everyday reality.